Hello everyone, I'm Brian, welcome back, let's go ahead and continue.
I have an additional question regarding that. Isn't societal pressure should be considered when you are telling that you have to do whatever you want to do in your life?
See, when I say you should do what you want, I'm not talking about the whimsical things that you want to do. If you really look at yourself carefully, somebody thinks, I want to play a game, somebody thinks, I want to get married, somebody thinks, I want to get this education, somebody thinks, I want so much money. No, they don't want all these things. They believe if they get to do those things, they will live a life of fulfillment, joy, yes? So I will teach you a simple technology with which you can be joyful. First you become joyful. Suppose you are absolutely joyful right now, then what will you do? You will do what is needed. Only when you're in pursuit of happiness, you're very particular what you should do and what you should not do. When you are an expression of joy, you will do what is needed in the world, isn't it? So this is what needs to happen to humanity. Unfortunately, most of the world is in pursuit of happiness. What this means, they want to squeeze happiness from the world. No, happiness is not in the world, happiness is possible within the human being. If you make this happen, if your life is an expression of your joy, what will you do? Have you noticed with yourself, one day you're very happy. Do you see how considerate and wonderful you are to everybody around you? Yes? Another day you're little frustrated. Do you see how nasty you can be? Isn't it? So, the most fundamental thing we have not settled, we have always been trying to produce good human beings. This is the greatest mistake we've made. We need to produce joyful human beings because joy is an insurance. A human being who is joyful has no needs of his own, he is fine. Wherever you place him, he is fine. He is no more a vested interest. He will do what is needed in the world. Those who are in pursuit of happiness will do what they fancy, whether the world likes it or not. Tell me, human action is about creating what is needed now, isn't it? Human action is not about your happiness. You're supposed to be happy. When you were a child, you remember when you were 5, 6 years of age? No? Have you seen your pictures? Your face was like this, always. Somebody had to make you unhappy. Slowly as you grow, becomes like this, now somebody has to make you happy. Huh? You go stand on the street, main street in Coimbatore or any city and watch all the people who are driving their dream cars and everything. Leave the very poor people, they've not eaten properly, we'll excuse them, okay? Well-to-do people who've eaten well. How many people are driving their car or motorcycle with great joy? It looks like when I see them, I think they're all practicing their last pose. They're trying to get that pose when they go into the grave, how they must look. I'm telling you, don't worry, you will get that pose naturally, you don't have to practice it all your life. You do not have to practice it all your life, you'll get it. Joy is not a goal by itself. Only if you are pleasant in your experience within yourself. See, this is all it is. If your body is pleasant, we call this health. You want it or no? I'm asking all of you. You want health or no? You must clearly say yes or no, I'm going to bless you. Yes. If your body is pleasant, we call this health. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it pleasure. If your mind is pleasant, we call this peace. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it joy. If your emotions are pleasant, we call this love. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it compassion. If your very life energies become pleasant, we call this bliss. If it becomes very pleasant, we call it ecstasy. If your surroundings become pleasant, we call it success. Only for success, to make the surroundings pleasant, you need the cooperation of many people. But to make your body pleasant, mind pleasant, emotion pleasant, energy pleasant, it's 100% your business. Yes? Yes or no?
Yes.
It is 100% your business. Right now, your body is feeling very pleasant, your mind is feeling very pleasant, emotions are pleasant, your energies are pleasant, surroundings are not so pleasant. Is it such a big problem? You will see how to sort that situation. If you are joyful by your own nature, you are always a part of the solution. If you are miserable, you are part of the problem, isn't it? This is a choice that every youth has. You must exercise this choice. Somebody else should not decide what should happen within you, isn't it? Huh? Hello? What's happening? Should somebody else decide what should happen within you? This is the sleeping time usually in the… Huh? In the college, is it the sleeping time usually? Usually in the kindergarten, this is the sleeping time. Should somebody else decide what should happen within you? You should decide. If you decide what should happen within me, will you decide that my inside should be pleasant or unpleasant? Pleasant for sure, isn't it? So if unpleasantness is happening, unhappiness is happening, frustration is happening, anger is happening, what it simply means is you are enslaved to somebody. Somebody else decides what should happen within you.
You are a slave to the word. Even if a word offends you, you are a slave to that word. I say that too.
This is the most horrible sort of enslavement, that someone or something can decide what happens within you. No, you decide what happens within you. What's around you, everybody has a say. We can strive to create that situation. That is not totally in our hands, but what's within us is our space. Here only what I want must happen, isn't it? If here only what I want is happening, I will keep this in extreme states of pleasantness. When I'm so pleasant, outside this and that issue is not going to determine the course of my life.
Okay, so real quick on roughly the same subject here. This literally just happened about yesterday, no, 2 days before, on a Thursday. Something that really happened to me. So anyways, I built this person a computer, I bought the parts, and he paid me for the parts. And I just built it for him for free, he didn't have to pay me anything, because, I I don't know why. I mean, he's a friend, so I was like, I don't mind doing it, I don't mind helping people. I enjoy doing it, so. Plus also, I think I said this before in a few videos, the fact that RAM and SSDs are so cheap now. Anyways, he paid me, and we're at a particular area where we hang out at. And I didn't realize this until I woke up Friday the next day, and I was looking for my wallet. I'm like, where's my wallet? It's like I didn't have enough time. I had to go to work. So I was like, oh crap, hopefully it's somewhere in my house, and I just didn't drop it at the area that we hung out at. I got to work. I called the shop that we normally hang out at. They looked around, they didn't find it. It's like, okay, maybe it is in my house somewhere. It's just I didn't really look too well because I had to go to work. Still looking for it right now, but I was like, it's eating me. It's like, oh my gosh, the shorts that I wore, it only has one back pocket, and it's kind of loose, and my wallet has fallen out of it before. But I usually always check. And I guess this time when I got home, maybe they just didn't register to me, because it was a pretty crazy Thursday. And when I got home that Thursday, I guess I didn't bother checking. I normally always put it in the same spot, and I got paid for the essentially for the equipment that I bought for him. And so essentially I just lost out on quite a lot of money there, and I was bummed out. I was a little frustrated with myself. But at the same time, it's like, what can I do about it? So this is a very prime example of my own philosophy. It's not perfect at all, but it helps. And right now, I'm pretty calm about it. I'm kind of like I won't say I don't care, but I'm not worried about it. It's a large sum of money. I'll go ahead and reveal them out. $180. That's a lot to me. $20 is a lot to me. So if you can translate that, I'm not sure. But right now I'm like, well, I can call around. I can call the shop again with the owner of it and look at the cameras to see if it fell somewhere over there. Maybe maybe didn't see it fall at all, and it's still somewhere in my house for some odd reason, but I don't know where. But I doubt it's in my house, and it's probably gone. I lost my IDs, my credit cards, my cash, and all that. So I'm gonna have to, as soon as tomorrow comes, once he can check his footage, if he can't find it there, I'm gonna have to probably cancel it all. So I'm bummed out about that, but at the same time, my philosophy comes into play, saying, what can I do about it? Well, I just have to eat the loss. I have to cancel all my credit cards. I have to go buy me another ID. I paid for my driver's license for 8 years instead of 4, so it's double the cost, and hopefully I don't have to pay more for my own stupidity. And eat the loss, cancel my credit cards, and oh my gosh, my bank numbers is in there too. Anyways, so I asked myself, what can I do about it? Well, there's a few more things I can do. I can keep looking around the house. I can call and hope that, they got it on camera or something. If someone picked it up, clearly they didn't turn it in. I'm hoping that the owner of the shop went in there, found it, and just kind of kept it and wait for me to come in or something, or me call or something. I'm hoping for that. But again, what can I do? Call the shop, look a little bit more. If nothing else, then take the loss, cancel the credit cards, get a new ID, get a new wallet, get new credit cards, and keep an eye on my bank account for a little bit. And that's something I can do.
Thank you, Sadhguru. Now it's time for audience question.
Namaskaram, Sadhguru. I am Susitra from second year BSc Honors Agriculture. இன்னைக்கு என்னோட கொஷின்ஸ் வந்து யங்ஸ்டர்ஸ் அதிகமாக யூஸ் பண்ணுற சோஷியல் மீடியா பற்றி. இப்போ இந்த கரண்ட் சீனரியோவில் யங்ஸ்டர்ஸ் வந்து அதிகமாக சோஷியல் மீடியா யூஸ் பண்ணுறாங்க. அந்த சோஷியல் மீடியாவில் ரூமர்ஸ் வந்து நியூஸாக பரவுது. ஸோ நிறையா க்ரைம் அண்ட் ஈவன் மர்டர்ஸ் கூட நடக்குது. ஸோ இதை பற்றின உங்களோட கருத்து என்ன? இதை எப்படி நம்ம ஃப்யூச்சரில் ஓவர் கம் பண்ணலாம்? தேங்க்யூ.
நமக்கு இந்த தொழில்நுட்பத்தினால பலவிதமான வசதி வந்துடுச்சு. வந்த வசதி.
Okay, I'm gonna have to skip this part because your thoughts on social media rumors. Well, if it's a rumor, it's a rumor. I mean, find out the truth. Sure, get your information, I suppose. I notice honestly a lot of the ones where when they're speaking in Tamil, I notice on the scroll bar down here that there's a large skip over here because this is Tamil, I believe. And here's a large section of Tamil. It looks like there's a big skip. Most replayed, it's right over here. So it's like they skip it. I'm wondering if there's a lot of people who don't speak Tamil. I don't know if it's English people watching it or whether it's Indian people watching and they just don't maybe speak that specific language. I'm wondering if that's the case. Just a lot more people just generally not speaking that language or skipping. So anyways, I'm sorry I have to skip it, but please, again, if you want to watch it, please go to. You should have watched it on Sadhguru's website in a way, on his YouTube channel. Let's see.
பொறுப்பா வெளியே வரும், இல்லைன்னா ஏதோ ஒன்று வருது. இது ரொம்ப முக்கியமானது. இது சோஷியல் மீடியா பிரச்சனை இல்லை, இது மகத்தான ஒரு கருவி. உபயோகப்படுத்துகிற ஆள் பொறுப்பாக இருக்கணும் தானே. Anybody, please take the microphone.
I hope that I can get the rest of this video in this last recording. have to now that
Hi,
I've asked.
Sadhguru, my love. My question is like, so much billions of, okay, thank you. From my 4 years of age, So my question is, so much billions of amount of money has been put into agriculture, right from Food and Agriculture Organization to many R&D units. Many researchers are constantly working on this aspect, but why haven't we completely alleviated hunger? Why is this so? I'm really grief-stricken, and you are the correct person to address this problem. You are. And can spiritual science combat this problem? Does it have a correlation? Can it bridge the gap? Thank you.
So, let me go back. Many researchers are constantly working on this aspect, but why haven't we completely elevated hunger? I don't know what she means by elevated. Like you put it up on a pedestal, or maybe like why haven't we solved hunger? So many billions amount of money has been put into agriculture, right? Right from food and agriculture organizations to many R&D units. My researchers are constantly many researchers constantly but not eliminated maybe is what you meant. Completely eliminated hunger. The problem, I guess, is kind of corporation obviously wanting to make money, and perhaps maybe even corporate or government incentivizing donations for corporation to alleviate taxes. But you know, I remember a long time ago. Oh my gosh, what's the company name? Tutu? I can't remember. It's something T. It's capital T, capital T. I can't remember the name of it. Anyways, there's a lot of brands that come from it. Like 8 o'clock coffee is one of them. But anyways, I heard they donate a lot of their profits to the poor to help out. Hopefully, to help out the poor, not just to give money, because giving money doesn't always solve the problem. But to do something to help create jobs and for them to earn the money, because by giving them money you're taking away jobs, you're taking away the incentive to work. And this is kind of like a while back when I watched a YouTube video about every time you buy so and so, we'll donate a pair of shoes to someone in another underdeveloped country. And I'm like, oh, my first initial thoughts like, oh man, it's really nice, they need shoes or whatever over there. Then all of a sudden I heard a counter argument to that saying, well, that is really nice, but then you are taking away the job from someone who creates shoes over there. Because all of a sudden they just donate, like, I don't know, 500,000 shoes. The person the person who's making shoes over there now has no job because the shoes were just donated. And I'm sure those shoes are probably better quality, maybe. That's questionable, but either way, there's 500,000 shoes over there now, and he will not be needing to make any money for his family. Now, not only did there's already jobless issues over there, now there's another job that's out of the job because of all the donations. And that's like, I didn't even think about it that way. So that's the reason why necessarily giving stuff is not exactly necessarily the best solution, but finding a way to create jobs or I don't know how to say it, but jobs so that they can work and make money for themselves and their families. That way they're not just sitting there waiting for a second, where's my money? And I'll be next month now. Yeah, it's probably enough. Just a little bit more, actually. Kind of like that. In California, I believe that there's such a good social safety net that there's a lot of homeless people that choose to be homeless because they got everything they need. So they're not going to work. What can you do? And the taxes are really, really high in California. So there's that issue. So sadly enough, things cannot be free just yet until machines take over all work environments and we become completely lazy. Let's see what else. So solving a lot of the issues is just very difficult, and the biggest thing is also R&D, research and development, is so expensive. We generally do not know probably how much goes into research and development just to develop an improvement on something, because we're not in there. we're not, you know, on the ground looking at what they do for research and how long it takes for one thing to be accomplished. Then when they accomplish that one thing, there's government insight that says, you know, you have to test and test and test for at least 5 years to make sure that these things is not deadly or whatever. You know, it doesn't develop any late term, you know, problems. So not only did it take like 10 years to develop that one thing, but you have 5 to 10 years of what is it, testing to make sure it's human safe. Then after that, it has to go through a little bit more testing, maybe another 5 years. Then after that, that's what you're looking at, about 25 years maybe for that one product. And how much you think you're paying these people to research and develop for that stuff, and where are you getting that money to make sure that your business stays afloat? It's really crazy. I'm not saying it costs that much, but there is a lot of research and development. It takes a lot of time, especially probably in new development of new products and stuff. Why is this grief stricken and you're the correct person? Well, hopefully that answers the question. I'm not sure if that is the right answer, but I wouldn't doubt it's part of the right answer. And can spiritual science combat this problem? Spiritual science, that's really weird to say it that way. Can spirituality combat this problem? It can. Hopefully it makes spirituality can hopefully make people kind and generous. I would say this, I'd have a correlation. Can it bridge the gap? I don't think there's a correlation. I mean in terms of like maybe if you're much kinder, there is a correlation to helping, obviously. But without enough people, you know, I don't know if it can bridge the gap.
Does it have a correlation? Can it bridge the gap? Thank you.
People on the planet are hungry. Many are malnourished and hungry on the planet. It's estimated nearly 30% of the population is malnourished on the planet, not enough food. Not because there is not enough food.
There's enough to go around.
In the year 2014, the statistics taken shows that in that year we produced food for 18 billion people. We were only 6.8 billion people on that day, but we had food for 18 billion people. Still 30% doesn't get to eat. So it's not because of failure of agriculture, it is because of failure of human heart.
I won't necessarily make a counter to that. That is going to be part of the problem, but I'll say this as also as part of the problem. Sorry to interrupt him, but I was watching YouTube videos. Whew, YouTube, very informative. I'm sorry, the reason why I sound weird is I'm trying to prevent myself from coughing. Like gas stations or bakeries, when they bake stuff, they can only keep it on the shelf for so long, and anything they don't sell, they legally have to throw it away because you run the risk of food poisoning or something like that. And if you were to sell that, you can get sued because you sell a bad product. It's really kind of crappy. It seems crappy, but I get it. The fact, imagine if you go to a restaurant and you buy a food that's really, really old and you're like, oh my gosh, what is this? And you become really sick. You're like, well, you shouldn't be selling this because it's really old. You know, you can get people sick. And at the same time, you know, the bakery can't just say, oh, we have 3 more days left of this, so let's go ahead and throw it away. You know, or because you have 3 days to try to sell it at the very least. So it's really, how do I say, it's very messy, I suppose. You know, where you want to make sure you make the money off the stuff that you make, but anything that you make over, you kind of have to throw away because it's not safe for human consumption. But the really cool thing is I found some gas stations and certain places that will try to find and make a deal that anything that doesn't sell, instead of throwing it away, they they can at least donate it to the homeless. And I'll say that's at least then the food is not just going to waste. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's getting thrown back into the earth and get recycled, but you know, it can go through another process before it gets, you know, cycled. But yeah, and it's really, I remember also watching another YouTube video where, yeah, we make enough money to feed people many times over, and yet there's still starving people. And I'm wondering if that's the cause of it, because of food regulations. I get why it's there. You know, it's really tough. You said you want food regulation so that it's healthy, safe to eat, but at the same time, you know, they have to throw it away, even though it could technically still be good. But no one really knows that. You're not going to hire a food scientist to go there. It's like, good, you know. Bad. You know, that's just more cost to the company. It's just easier to throw it away. You know, it sucks.
So you stood up and used the word love instead of just directing at me. I'm doing fine. If you can direct it at the world and see what can be done out of your love, if love finds action, this 30% wouldn't be hungry. If there was no food on the planet, that's a different matter. When we are having food 3 times over than what we actually need, and still 30% is hungry, it is just a human failure, not agricultural failure, isn't it?
Yeah, agriculture is doing great.
If you ask the farmers to produce double of what they are producing right now, I'm telling you within 2 years it will happen. But how to get it to those people who don't have food to eat, that's a big question, because there are markets, there are vested interests, there are nations which will come in the way. So, at one time, when I was at the World Economic Forum, the leaders of the World Economic Forum heard me in many sessions, and then they said, Sadhguru, if there's one thing we can do for you, which will transform this world, what is it? I said, see, I will name 25 people. You give them to me for 5 days. You will see within 2 to 3 years, there will be a phenomenal change on the planet. They asked, who are these 25 people? I named the 25 heads of states of the important nations on the planet. I said, give me these 25 people for 5 days. If you are a regular human being, in 2 to 3 days I can do it. Because you're a politician, I need 5 days.
Yeah, I get it.
5 days. Leave them with me. I will see that in 2 to 3 years' time, the world is a different place, because all the resources there, all the food is there, all the technology is there, all the means are there, only human willingness is not there. How long should it take to make human beings willing? If 25 leaders on the planet make up their mind, you can make sure everybody is eating enough. Every child can go to bed with a full stomach. It's possible. In a matter of 2 years it can be done. It doesn't take decades to do it, because food is there, technology is there, transportation means are there, everything is there. Never before in the history of humanity we had these things. Even 25 years ago it was not possible, but today for the first time we have it all. The question is only, you and me, as a generation of people, will we make it happen, or will we just sit at home and crib? Will we just sit at home and complain and cry about it, or will we stand up and make it happen in whatever capacity we can? That's all the question is.
Okay. 2 minutes. 40-50. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna pause it right here. Good Lord, I talked a lot in this one. So, and to kind of go over what he just said too. Again, there is a lot of things that obviously will get in the way. You know, or of course, a corporation just cannot make food for free, because a lot of things that they do cost money. Obviously, they make a large profit. It's what they're supposed to do in order to be successful. There are corporations out there who donate. You know, is it Tao? Tutu? I can't remember it. It's been a long time since I watched it. Like, that one video is when I watched it, and I'm amazed of how much they donate and give. It's a company, an Indian company. But I mean, I'm sure there's companies that donate as well. The biggest issue is not necessarily there's not enough money or whatever. It's people willingness to do it, and perhaps maybe that's what Sadhguru is talking about too. It's maybe not the resources out there and everything's out there, but the people's willingness to do it. As we can, all the question is, will we stand up and make it happen in whatever capacity? Don't cry about. Because, I mean, I think this is a truth. I think American people are very generous. You know, whenever this is a disaster, we tend to help out other countries as well, generally speaking. And also, even within, like, within the country itself, you know, there's people who go to Kickstarter. I don't know how many people start up a Kickstarter and become successful for legitimate reasons, mind you, not just because you want to do a vacation. But it's really crazy to think that there's this person who sold all her belongings because she wanted to buy a lottery ticket that was worth $1 billion and lost it all. She spent all of her money and sold a lot of her stuff in her house and then started a GoFundMe, and people actually started a GoFundMe saying that she lost all her money because she bought a lottery ticket. And she said that on the GoFundMe. I think you can Google it. I can't remember, but she sold essentially all her stuff. Except, I think, except for her house and her car, or a lot of it, and bought a lot of lottery tickets just so she can hopefully win that lottery, and didn't win. And then started a GoFundMe, and people were paying into it. I was like, no, you did that. That was a stupid move. You suffer. You shouldn't have done that. Anyways, there's a lot of generous people out there, and it's just that finding people to, I won't say take advantage of the generous people, but to be able to use the resources that these generous people will provide to help out those who need. People are willing to give. It's just, are people willing to do something with that giveness? Like go get the money to start up some food shelters or start up whatever it may be. I mean, giving free food, free clothes is not going to get them out of poverty. It's not going to get them out of hunger, malnutrition, because essentially they become dependent on your donations, I guess you could say, donations, and they become dependent on your donations because they can't provide for themselves. They can't make money. So that's the biggest thing, is finding a way to be able to give them a job. Excuse me. Oh, video over with, by the way, just me talking now. So yeah, just finding a way to get them a consistent job so that they can earn the money, so that they can provide for themselves. Like, all these food shelters and homeless shelters are great and all, but it's not going to get them out of their situation. Especially for those who just chooses to be homeless, honestly. But anyways, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say there. But again, you know, there are people who are going to choose to remain homeless because it's just, hey, look, it's their choice, and if, so long as they're not trying to take resources from those people who are trying to get out of homelessness, then I'm completely fine with that. And if there's food shelters out there, though, like, again, food shelters are not going to get homeless people or yeah, homeless people not homeless, because, you know, providing them food is just for them to survive an extra day. Because you're not, there was catch a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man a fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life. So you're not teaching them how to cook, because all you're doing is actually giving them the food. So you're essentially catching the fish for them, so they'll eat only whenever you provide. But if you teach them a job skill, they'll be able to buy the food and provide for themselves, kind of deal. Anyways, that's my reaction, at least for part whatever.